Everyone, welcome back to Lise Loves Paper, and I'm here today with a process video for this that you probably have already seen if you watched my kit catch-up video. So as you saw, I did start out already with some things chosen. As I do the kit catch-ups, I tend to already kind of make little mini page kits as I go through, and I've thrown these things together. So that's why it was already partially done. So anyway, catching up to what I have done now. I knew I wanted to use a white background, and I wanted to use that party hat paper because it's just so fun. But that party hat paper could be too overwhelming. So I wanted the white space at top. And then you saw I tore it for some texture. And I used the B side with this beautiful stripe. It makes this little graphic punch. And I just love that little moment on the page. I love a black and, well, I guess it's not white. It's a black and cream stripe here. But you had also seen that I have been putting that ribbon across the top. And I had this harebrained idea. Here I am testing things out. I needed to see how far my hole punches would reach. And the answer was not far enough. So I was kind of measuring to see how much of the white paper I could cut off and still make the page, you know, attach it behind and everything. And that's kind of what I'm doing here. So now I had cut it so that I could punch holes in it from that side so I could wind the ribbon in and out. And here I am just making sure I wanted the holes to stay kind of even across. Now it doesn't, in the end, it doesn't really matter because this ribbon is pretty thick. And so it kind of hides any imperfections. And I really didn't need to spend as much time as I did here. If you don't like math, you don't have to do math. I'm just Little Miss Perfectionist. And so you'll see me fuss here a lot with it. I was trying to get things, I had put my two end dots about an inch in because I didn't want them too close to the end of the paper. And then I kind of tried to evenly space the holes in between at about 2 inches, but that didn't work. So here I am erasing it. They weren't even enough for me. So now I'm trying to put the holes at 3/4 inches in from the edges, getting a little closer to the edges, and then doing about 1.5 inches and seeing where that landed me. And again, it's not perfect, but I didn't feel like fussing with it and doing like the real math. And so I just decided it was good enough. Nobody's going to notice but me. And I think in the end, you'll agree that that was probably true. I apologize for being off camera here. I do bring it in for you. I was just trying to be pretty careful about making sure that I was punching on the dot because again, I didn't want it to be too wonky. You'll notice when I put it down, they do bounce up and down a little bit, but again, the ribbon hides that. I just wanted to make sure they were pretty even though, because you know, the ribbon can't hide everything. And I'm the kind of person, you'll see I fuss because those little things on my layouts bother me. They don't bother me on other people's layouts. So here I am. This was my idea the whole time, was to kind of wind this ribbon in and out and make this little textural element. And I love how it turned out. I wish I had taken a little bit more time though to plan out my layout better because you'll see me fuss with it in just a bit here. But had I known where I had wanted to put my photos beforehand, I would not have done these dots, these holes and ribbon behind where the photos would have been. So see, this is where I end up. It's kind of where I wanted them to begin with, but then I realized that the ribbon kind of got in the way of, you know, the photos laying flat. So I will mess a lot with this here, trying to figure out where I want those photos to sit. I keep trying to put them on top of the ribbons and I don't like the way they're laying there, but I don't like them above it either. I think it's too high. So I'm doing what I do best and I'm procrastinating by gluing these together here, but then that makes it easier, I think, to look at the layout as a whole, knowing exactly where everything is going to lay. I love that the ribbon pops over that stripe at the end. Again, we're procrastinating. I'm realizing that I have a good deal of ribbon on both sides and I'm going to have to cut it off, but I don't want 2 random bits of ribbon. I want one longer. So I'm pushing the ribbon all the way down to one end so that when I do cut it, that I have a useful bit of ribbon. I am taping it down. I could glue it, but you'll notice when I put it down, I don't pull it super tight because I want to maintain that kind of fluffiness on the front. And I like how that's sitting. So I was like, okay, maybe I can't figure out where I want the photos because I don't know where the title's going to go. So that's why I pulled the letters out. I tried tucking them in there. I don't love that either. So again, let's procrastinate and figure out this title here. and messing again. I still don't like it above. It just doesn't feel right. It feels too top heavy. I'm thinking, is this little bow paper clip, this is from Felicity Jane, is it going to help balance things out for me? No, it's still not working. There are lots of tappy fingers in this process video because I really did struggle, but I wanted to keep it in so you guys could see that it does happen. So again, I'm procrastinating and thinking, let's mat these photos. I decided to bring in this stripe because some of the party hats have this teal color and I had this remnant just sitting there, so I figured it would make a nice subtle matte. Now you'll notice as I'm trimming it, not this cut, but this cut here, that I go from the top, then I stop and go from the bottom. And that's because, again, this is one of those little things that'll bother me. One of the photos is not quite the same height as the other. And so I couldn't cut straight across without one of the mats not having the same border around it. So little things like that bother me. Anyway, here I go. And I know that I want them layered like this. And now I'm really liking that. I like the balance of that. And I decided I'm just going to have to make it work. It's going to have to go on top of the ribbons here, even though it covers up a good chunk of the ribbon. So now I'm getting some foam to put behind it on the top and on the bottom. So I'm hoping that that will kind of balance out the puff of the ribbon below it. And it does. It really does. I love this foam. I've linked it before. I can link it again if you guys are interested. It is adhesive on both sides. It's more expensive than Fun Foam, but I find that when I put adhesive on Fun Foam, my things bend. They get bendy and warped, and I don't like that. So to me, it's worth the extra money. So here I am putting on my title. And of course, it being me, I'm going with a pun. It's going to say too sweet because this was Layla's second birthday party. I say party loosely. We took her on her second birthday to Krispy Kreme. We live in the area where Krispy Kreme was founded, and so we took her to the factory so she could see them being made. And I am putting quotation marks around the two. That is just a remnant from when I was working in a different industry, and we were required, because the things we did were kid facing, to put any kind of puns in quotation marks so that kids knew that that's not the actual way to spell the two that you needed here. And so I fuss a lot. I'm moving things around because those two quotation mark bits on the left side were too close to the photo and really, really bothering me. See, I told you there are lots of little things. Are you funny about things like that, or you just not care? I just know that when I look back at this layout that it's going to bother me, and if I can fix it now, I will fix it now. I love these letters. They are a very yellow gold, which you will see later causes a little bit of issue with a potential embellishment, but I really like how they stand out. They go really well with that cream background, and they stand out against it. I know it kind of looks a little busy here on the screen, but in person it looks great. See, here I am fussing again. That E was not straight and it was bothering me. So now it's time to embellish. And I really did struggle with embellishing this because, you know, it's a busy bottom and we do have that negative space at the top, which I do like to maintain some negative space. So here's where I'm talking about. I try and bring that woohoo in. I love that woohoo, but because it is that less yellow gold, it really competed a lot, the size of the text in that gold. So I decided not to on this one. Tappy tappy. So here I'm like, oh, there's a yellow element. We can bring more yellow in. Now I have told you guys before, I struggle with banners. They're one of the pieces that I just have a hard time placing them, and you'll see me fuss and fuss and fuss. Where does it go? And I like that it kind of covers up the red on her car seat there, which was kind of in your face. And I was very happy to be able to use that. So now I'm going to go through my embellishment pack, and you'll notice I had that out since the beginning. I love this little love tag, and I tried to use it on many layouts. It does not make it onto this layout, but I try. Now with embellishment packs, what I like to do is go through each piece, and if something just even vaguely works, I toss it onto it. So then I'm kind of narrowing things down as I'm going. I'm not actually placing things. I'm just finding anything that could and would work here, and as I'm going through. So I did throw that frame on there, lots of tags. You'll see I'll throw a lot of tags and pieces on here because I know I want to put some journaling down here. and I'm looking for some journaling potential spots as I go through these. So that's why I throw that on there, because that would work. Throwing some tags in there so I can layer them possibly. And in the end, I don't end up using most of these, but at least I've narrowed it down so I don't have to really keep going back and back and back through that embellishment kit, because it can be overwhelming. So again, I don't know what to do, so I'm procrastinating with something I do know to do. I wanted to layer that frame in there. I love frames for little moments like this. It brings the page kind of up into that dead negative space there a bit, which is what I want to do. I'm trying to balance the layout here. And it really helps with that. So now I have decided on that black element. So this little piece that I'm playing with is a little vellum piece that said life is sweet, and I thought that was fun for a donut page, and I love that it's a vellum element, so it fits really well right there. I am bringing in touches of that gold that didn't work with the Woohoo. You can see it in the frame behind the photos. You see it in the life is sweet. It's also around that black banner journaling piece, but because they're not big enough to compete, it works. Plus I'm repeating it over and over again. Now here again, I was stuck with embellishments. So I went to my DIY embellishments I had made to see if any of those would fit, and tappy fingers. None of them were quite right size wise, color wise. And so I went through the other stack now here. And some of these would have worked. They could have worked. Like that one could have been the pink round one could have been great for journaling. But I didn't like how it stuck farther down into the layout. So now I've pulled out, this is my like words bin. And when in doubt, I always fall back on words, and I have everything in here. I'm going through it really carefully because there are some wood veneer pieces in here and they're easy to break. So I have to be kind of careful as I go through them. And I'm just auditioning. So this Keen piece is from, I think, a Heidi Swap thing. And I keep trying to find a layout for it, but that might have been the layout. But I was like, no, I really like the black of the Enjoy. So now we have some black elements with the stripe. We have it in that beautiful bow. We have it in the little journaling bit down there. And we're repeating it again. That's kind of the name of the game with this layout. And I really like the acetate piece here, this big Enjoy. It doesn't compete, I don't think, with the title because it is acetate. I think if it were on white, it would draw the attention too much. I knew I wanted it to go behind. Don't be afraid to cut your pieces. You just have to go for it. Be brave. I apologize. Here I am stapling it off screen. I was trying to make sure and get right on top of where I wanted to staple it. So there we go. I like to staple acetate so you don't see the adhesive. And again, I'm like, this is not embellished enough. I need a little more. What am I going to do? In the meantime, let's go ahead and glue that guy down because I know I really like it there. I have a little bit of a triangle going on here with the stuff above the photos, the stuff to the left of the photos, and then the journaling spot below the title. I brought in these letters, so again, when in doubt, bring in some more words. Tiny word stickers never fail me because they're great for repetition around a page and they kind of bring everything together. So again, here I am procrastinating with writing my journaling, which says Layla's second birthday at Krispy Kreme. And you see me stop here because I wanted to spell it right and I couldn't remember if Krispy Kreme had an IE or a Y at the end. And so I'm off screen Googling it just to make sure I spell it right. Because again, as a former editor, that would have really bothered me if I had done it wrong. And putting the date. And so I decided I want this under there. I love to tuck things under like this. It just makes them look more intentional. So right under the letters here, push those back down. And now we're going to bring some more of these pieces in. I'm almost done. I don't embellish this one a lot because those party hats really do the bulk of the work on this one. And I didn't want to take away from that. So I'm just throwing some of these in here and layering them up. And I decided I still didn't like the bit at the top. It was still too dead, so I throw this in there. I love how it's still subtle enough that it really doesn't draw too much attention. It's just a little bit up there. And so I think I'm almost done at this point, but tappy fingers, nope. There's still something missing. I pointed to that area. It just looks a little dead down there. So I go back to this, and I decided to put in some of that confetti, and I like the little bit that it brings in there. It's just enough, but not too much. And then I wanted, again, to repeat it. I wanted a third one. So I found a third one to put up top in that cluster. I'm being very careful pulling these off because you don't want to bend the cardstock. Then you get this ugly bend in it. Tucking it under, and then we are done. I'm going to show you the close-ups. Let me know, would you try this? Would you weave with ribbon on yours? I really like how it turned out. It was just this little bit of texture and it was so fun. And I'm glad I tried something new. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful week and I'll see you soon. Bye.